Phenom Blue. Quick video. If you guys are surface developers out there, one of the things that is big right now is tags, obviously. Taking objects outside of the surface and using them on the surface to interact with whatever application you're building or experience you're building or whatever. So we do quite a bit of that here. We do a lot of things for events, trade shows, things like that. You guys have probably seen a lot of it if you follow some of the surface stuff. We are strategic partners with Microsoft, and we've done a lot of work with tags, and especially around printing them, trying to get them printed on different things, to get them printed directly onto objects, all different things like that. So if you guys have worked with tags before, you'll know that Microsoft recommends printing on this actual printer. It is the Pro XL printer, and this is the tape that it prints on. And this is one of the only tried and true methods that Microsoft recommends to print these tags on. So it works great. They peel off real easy, and they would go onto a badge, for instance, very, very easily. The problem, though, is that they're a pain in the butt to print out. If you're doing anything where you have 500 or 600 people that are going to need these things, you have to pre-process them, pre-print them. It involves a lot of manual labor. It also involves, for us, a lot of the times building some sort of custom application involved around taking the tags and getting them put on whatever piece of whatever object we want to put them on, whether it's a name badge or a block or whatever it may be that we're using on the Surface machine. When you tie them back to individual people, where you're trying to make this more of an identity for someone or something, it gets even more complicated because you have to keep track of all that stuff. So about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we started engaging with a print vendor of ours that does a lot of kind of high-end electronic printing. And what we tasked them with was taking a badge like this, which is the badge for the Heartland Developers Conference last year here in Omaha, which is actually a really cool software development conference for a lot of different, for web developers and architects and things like that. This was last year's ID. And one of the things that we liked about this ID was that we decided that this is great because we don't have to actually type somebody's name on it. We can check them in on a sheet, give them this, it's got directions for Wi-Fi and things on the back, and they can just write their name on the front. One of the really cool things about being able to write their name on this is that it's dry erase. So if I write my name, Joe, on this, and I decide that later in the day I want to be known as my Twitter name, @JoeOlson, I can change that. So we thought that was kind of cool and fun, especially dealing with all the different ways that people communicate now with Twitter and mobile and Facebook and all kinds of stuff. So we kind of allow them to create their own identity, right? So we took this idea and we went to the printer and we said, hey, this is the kind of thing that we're looking for on a regular basis, right? We want this prefabricated piece of material that we've sized to the specification that we want. We want it bulldog punched in the top. We want all this full color, full bleed action going on. But you know what else we want? Is we want this Surface tag embedded into it. And we want to be able to give you a file in advance and say, here's a list of names along with a list of corresponding tags. We want all these badges pre-printed so they're ready to go, right? Or we want them pre-printed with a small number in the back so that we can do the same kind of thing where we can just hand it to somebody and within our system just say, this is the number that goes with Jim or Dave or John or Joe or whatever. So we went through quite a bit of trial and tribulations trying to get this thing to work, but I am pleased to tell you that we did get it to work. So here you'll see the samples that were printed with our printing partner, and these actually have a Surface tag inside printed directly onto the object. They're also dry erase, so they've set these things up so that I can scribble all over the front of them and I can erase it all just like any dry erase material that's out there. And they've got them set up. You can see person 7, person 8, person 9, person 1, person 2, person 3. These are all set up individually with different data tags. So let's take a look at the Surface and see how recognizable they are, because as you all know, Surface developers or Surface designers, is that these cameras are really finicky with the tags, which is why it's so hard to get these things to print on materials. So let's take a look. So we got all these tags and they're pre-printed onto these badges, and we're going to drop some on the Surface table and see how easy that they're read. You can see really quickly that the Surface table picks these up with pretty much no problem. These are all Surface tags. They're all enabled. Oops. And you can read right here that the ID is being picked up off of all of these tags, which is really cool. And the great thing about it is, you don't really have to be very finicky with it. It pretty much moves around
keeps the IDs, you know, pretty good. You can slide them across the screen, the IDs go with it.
So you've seen these on the Surface machine, you've seen how they work, told you about these badges and the printing thing. The coolest thing about this is that how cheap they are. These things are less than $1 a piece to produce in the state that they are right here, and that's at a quantity of like 500. So you can imagine how cheap these things can get when you get into the quantities that you may be ordering as a Surface development shop. Again, thanks for watching. If you want any more information, shoot us an email, and we'll get this turned out for you. You can send an email to surface@phenomblue.com, and we can get you the information on where to get this stuff. So thanks.